All right, Emily, and I'm making these bios up from what I know of you guys, so you can embellish after we're done. I know Emily is a podiatrist. I think of her as an acrobat because when I see you on social media, Emily, you're always swinging from some silk somewhere. Emily is very known for her barefoot training, and she recently moved to Chandler, Arizona from New York City. Just she moved in, I think, June because she knew that our summers were so awesome. So that was, yeah. And I know that she's a mom. I think your daughter is like 1.5. Is that right?
Yeah, she's 14 months.
Okay, there you go. Anything else you want to add about yourself and tell our peeps?
Yeah, I mean, I've been in fitness for 20 years, so I still teach some classes. Now, of course, they went virtual. And I have an education company and a product company, which is Naboso, my product company. So I run 3 companies.
You wear lots of hats.
Yes, I do.
Yes. Thank you, Emily. Great to have you. Thanks for taking the time. Brett Klicka. Brett and I go way back. He's been a FitnessFest presenter. He's an international presenter, and so is Emily, by the way, and so is Jessica. But I don't know I don't remember what year it was, Brett, but you were I think it was Personal Trainer of the Year. And you are a dad of a 7-year-old. And I know that because my granddaughter is the exact same age. Maybe they're a week apart. I know he lives in San Diego, and he's also done some Native American projects with us, and we're about to do one in a couple weeks. He is the owner of Spider Fit Kids, and that is his it's not even the newest project, but it's the company that's probably dearest to your heart. You want to say a few more things about yourself, Brett?
Yeah, so Spider Fit Kids has been my baby since I had a baby, since, well, my wife, but since 2013, really. And I've also, my other business is corporate engagement consulting. That's kind of where I branched out from the world of fitness into how can we make fitness more relevant to the working professional. So working with companies and helping them realize that not just fitness and nutrition, but other mental health habits and other health habits can actually help them improve their bottom line, decrease healthcare. And so I've had the opportunity to work really all over the world in that space too. So it's kind of two different sides of my career. Before that, I was very much working with athletes, and I was a coach at the U.S. Olympic Training Center and all that. But working with kids on one side, but then really working with stressed out parents on the other side has been something that brings me a lot of joy, and I can't imagine just slimming it down to one.
Awesome. Thank you, Brett. Thanks for taking the time. And Jessica Maurer and I go back a little bit as well. She's an international presenter, has presented for FitnessFest over the years. She moved, I think, from Colorado. I know you live in North Carolina, in Asheville, and a senior director for development for Fit for Mom, the owner of Fit for Mom in Asheville. She's a fitness business consultant. I know she consults with and helps with branding and online training and all that for people like Mindy Milray and several others. So Jessica, thanks for hopping on. What else do you want to say about yourself?
Yeah, so I've been on the market for a while telling everybody to take themselves virtual and digital, and then COVID hit and kind of proved what I was trying to say for the last couple of years. So it's been really fun helping people take their live products, their live services, and put them online, whether that be in a digital or a virtual way in this last year.
Cool. And your son, I think, is 6 or 7 years old. Is that right? I think he goes to first grade. 7.
Yeah,
oh,
7.
And what month was he born? Because he's the
April.
same age. Okay. So he's a little older than ours, Brett. So, all right. Well, thank you all three for joining us. And, we always have such great panelists, and, I chose these 3 because of all the hats they wear and how successful they are, and how they manage it all so nicely, and I'm sure so perfectly, right? So, and my name is Janice Jakes, for those of you who don't know me, and I'm the owner of the FitnessFest Conference and Expo. We just had our virtual fitness conference last month. We have a virtual day coming up on December 5th, which I'll tell you more about. and that we've been doing these Fit Pro connections to connect fitness professionals together ever since COVID hit. And we didn't imagine that it would go this long, but it's just been so rewarding for us at FitnessFest. And I know for our people who hop on, whether it's just for fun or just getting some value out of what the speakers have to say. It's just, we know in the fitness and wellness industry that we just really need some sort of connection. And so we hope that this will help and has helped. We are going to start with our first question. And I think I'll start with Jessica. Jessica, what is your morning routine?
I'm a big coffee fan, so I don't ever open up an electronic, turn on a screen, or take any requests until the coffee has been made. So I'm very ritualistic that I'm up, coffee, and then I start with the family ordeal, getting the 7-year-old up to virtual school. And then I feel like I can actually turn my own focus and concentration to my work. I found in the past that if I was trying to do things prior to making sure he was up and ready, or I was fully caffeinated, that emails didn't get fully sent in the right manner. I wasn't fully thinking, fully explaining to my best ability. So if I can dedicate the actual time to get my personal life under control, then I can dive more into that professional life and not feel like the two are conflicting. But it definitely is that first cup of coffee.
Right. You only have one cup?
Oh no, that's just the first.
Okay. Good. I'm a coffee girl too, for sure. I just can't, like, it takes me, the older I get, the longer it takes me to wake up as well. So great. Thank you. Emily, how about you? What's your morning ritual, morning routine?
Yeah, so I have my little list, super organized. So yeah, I have a 14-month-old. So my dream of waking up and doing some meditation and deep breathing and stretching, that doesn't happen because she pulls me out of bed, and then my dog is doing the same.
That's your wannabe morning routine, right?
That is my pre-baby morning routine.
Yeah.
Now my routine is, obviously she's up and then she's all in the bathroom while I'm getting ready. But a few key things that are really important to how I start my morning before coffee is I listen to podcasts when I get ready. So the podcasts are either something educational, or I used to listen to Tony Robbins every morning. And that was when I was in kind of a different mental state, where I had to kind of just really get me in the zone. So I would do that, but I still carry that into doing these podcasts. I release my feed every morning when I'm getting ready. Everyone should do that as well. Another key thing is I plan my outfit the night before. And I know sometimes people will say that they wear the same outfit. I think, was it Mark Zuckerberg wears the same like black and jeans, and Steve Jobs did that also. I don't take it to that extreme, but I will plan my outfit the night before. Then I have my coffee, but I have MCT oil in my coffee, which is huge because I typically fast until around noon. And then once my nanny comes, she takes the baby so I can start working. Then I start my work day making a action list. So action items versus just opening my emails, because I have 7 email accounts, no, probably even more, that I have to manage. So I just kind of have to look at all of them. So I have an action list versus just flowing through answering emails all day, because then nothing gets done. And then the one key thing that I do throughout my morning, well, really my day, is I ask myself, have I done something, or what do I need to do to drive revenue to my businesses today? So is that posting something on social media? Is it doing an e-blast? Is it connecting with influencers? It's something that the longer I get into business and the more businesses that I'm running, I'm very much become a numbers oriented person. And I'm all about the revenue and the profit margins, just because you hit an age and you're like, I am working so hard. This has got to start paying off. So that is my morning.
Awesome. Thank you. Oh, there was something in the chat. What are the benefits of MCT oil? I know my daughter does that too. And Emily, you and Aaron were on the same Fit Pro Connection several months ago, and she's also a Tony Robbins fan. I know you said you used to be.
I
Yeah.
need to connect with her.
Yeah, you do. And then she's also into MCT. So you want to just tell Julia what the benefits of MCT oil are?
Yes. So it keeps you in a more ketogenic state, and your brain uses ketones. So when you're fasting, it will help you in the ketogenic. I started doing it because of the other forum that I was on about brain fog, post-COVID brain fog. So I was doing it to keep my mental focus and clarity. I also could add on here that I take about 20 supplements in the morning, including nootropics, in addition to the MCT oil. But that's why I take the MCT oil, is to regulate my blood sugar and to keep it ketogenic.
Awesome. Thank you, Emily. Brett, what's your morning routine?
So for years, my morning routine has been, I'm an early riser. I get up about 4:30. And for that, like that has generally been get up at 4:30. I'm working out. We made our garage into a gym. I'm working out by 5 till about 6. It's interesting, since COVID though, with my daughter being home, I found that was really that morning time. That was the only time I had to get my highest quality work. And that's a big shift for me. Like that, we're talking like 15 years of getting up at that time in the morning and that being my routine. So I actually started getting up and working at that time, and then pushing workout time to the end of the day, where it's not, my daughter's already off playing or whatever. And it's amazing. I found that my best mental clarity, my best mental power was first thing in the morning. And so now I'm up and I start working. I don't, unless so Brendan Burchard, if anyone's familiar with him, he made I was at a thing he did, and he made a quote, said, "Own your agenda." And that made a lot of sense to me, because in the morning, unless it's something that I sent out for someone to do, I'm not responding to emails right away, unless it's if it's international and we're on some sort of time thing that I have to make sure that I get to them. I'm creating content. That is my deepest mental work, is first thing in the morning, whether it be writing blogs, whether it be creating more education, for certifications through SpiderFit, whether it be looking at stuff with my corporate client. And then so after that goes until about, my daughter's up and rolling. I take her, we have her going to this little school thing here during COVID about 8 o'clock. So I get about 5:30 to 8 is just straight up content creation. After that, come home. I will take some time then to look at emails, to do any responses I have to do, but I try to really keep that. I try to keep it going from me as much as possible. I try to say, hey, I'm giving people, I'm giving people things that I need them to do, whether they're people that work with me or for me or whatever that is, versus just constantly responding to others. But I take my time to respond. And then from there, it's similar to Emily. I make my must-do lists, and I don't just make it and I prioritize it. So I have all my different things for this company, for that company, for personal, for all these other things. I have my list. I have a master list, and then every day I just take off that master list and put it into my daily list, and then I prioritize it. So if you're in the top 3, I'm not going to bed until that gets done that day. So it's just a matter, and what that does is helps me prioritize, helps me push out all the stuff that's not helping me meet that bottom line. The older I've gotten, the better I've gotten at saying no. The better I've got at doing less, but doing things that are more important. So that's really what it comes down to. I'm a big supplement person. I get up, my breakfast I'll generally have after I work out, or somewhere in that kind of, before I start working, actually 5-ish in the morning, and salmon. I have kind of a non-traditional breakfast. I'm a big breakfast person, but that and supplements. I like to think I'm starting my day with all the absolute best stuff I can get. And then that sometimes dwindles as the day goes on, but I wake up with a good plan. But yeah, that's how I kind of shoot out of bed in the morning.
Very cool. No coffee for you, Brett?
You know what, to tell you the truth, so I have coffee. I love the taste of it. I love the ritual of it. And as my age has, like wine has appreciated, my stomach can't handle it as well. I end up feeling it a little bit later if I'm working out. So I switched to actually 5-hour energies, and I'm probably their best client. Every morning I have a 5-hour energy, and it has actually most people don't know, it has less caffeine than cup of coffee. It
I
doesn't
think
have
it's
as
amazing
much.
that
What's that?
Brett and Emily, you guys both have like such great mornings. Like you guys are on fire right in the morning, and I'm like, I don't get up till like noon. Like all these to-do lists and like tackling your agenda. I'm like, yeah, at lunch. That's what I'm doing.
Here's the thing, Jessica. Call me at 6 o'clock at night, and it's gonna be like talking to a post.
And
Like,
by then, I'm like, let's go run. Like I'm good at 6.
Day goes on. I'm
I find this very interesting.
It is.
It's so
Yeah.
cool and captivating to hear how different
Yeah.
you guys' thought processes are.
Well, I will say with that, and not but with that, Jessica, to that point, of anything I've ever done with my businesses or within my career or anything like that, I can count the number of times I've had to stay up past 10 p.m. to do it.
Mm-hmm.
My brain is not working. I will rather get up at 4 a.m. and I'll get up earlier than 4:30. That's just the way I figured out my cycles over the years. My best stuff is not at night. It's first thing in the morning. So
That's awesome.
the night
I'm
stuff
exactly
doesn't work for
opposite.
me. Yeah.
Used to be an evening person. Like that's when I would do my studying. Just going through school, I was like, oh, I just get like a second wind and just the best retention in the evening. And then as I got older, of course, having my daughter forced me to wake up. And then I would just realize, and I was like, oh my goodness, I am actually more productive and more creative and more focused in the morning. And kind of what Brett was saying of his creativity. I went to Tucson a couple weeks ago just to write, and I did nothing with the emails, but I would wake up at 6 a.m., 3 days straight, just writing. And I got so much done. And then I hit a point in the day, like 2 o'clock, and it was just, it fell apart. Like I was like, I might as well just go to the spa or something because nothing else is getting done creatively.
Right.
But it's interesting.
Well, I think it's good, to like when you write or when you do something like that, to get away, to go somewhere completely different than, get some different juices flowing there, or just, get out of your regular element for sure. So yeah, it is very interesting. And it's important to figure out what works for you personally, and that you had to shift. Brett, I'm wondering, because I have to work out first thing in the morning. Well, first thing after I have my 2 cups of coffee. If I don't, it does not get done. Like, how was it really challenging, or did it take you a long time to shift from the morning workout to the evening? Was it kind of shaky for a while there?
Yeah, mentally. I mean, because that was that was one of those things that kind of defined me. That was my thing, and but it really got to the reality of, like, especially in the beginning of COVID, I was like, I'm not getting to work in my business. I mean, at the end of I'm my wife and I are kind of checking in with my daughter and here and there, and I could do these little patches of 20, 30 minutes of quality work, but it wasn't even quality work. And so it just was sort of a necessity thing. I mean, the anxiety I was feeling from not getting work in my business versus the anxiety I was feeling for not working out in the morning, the business anxiety was worse.
Yeah. So you figured it out.
Another.
You put on your big boy pants and figured it out. Yeah. You just had to do it. Good stuff. All right. The next question is, how do you relax? How do you relax? And tell us about your self-care. I don't want to say routine. Maybe you do have a routine, maybe you don't, but self-care and how do you relax? Emily, we're going to start with you.
My list. My self-care, which I am very strict on this. You can ask my husband that it is like my bath at the end of the day, nothing, even my baby cannot stop that. But so my self-care is, I do infrared sauna 3 times a week. Part of that is because of, detoxing and stuff like that related to COVID, but I'm a sauna girl anyway, that I would do that even back in New York. So 3 times a week, I do infrared sauna. 3 times a week, I do whole body cryo just to kind of train my vagus nerve in the other direction. Like I had already said, every night I do either a charcoal bath, a hydrogen peroxide bath, or a clay bath. I am obsessed with baths. And I do aerials that you had referenced. That's my time. And then, yes, at night when I'm doing my baths, I unwind with podcasts. I'm a big podcast junkie. That's primarily what I do because I'm so on the computer. I don't read as much as I wish I did. So that's why I switched to educational podcasts. So I'm still expanding my knowledge. But yeah, so that's how I typically unwind.
Awesome.
And I go to bed at 9:30.
Okay, I was going to ask that. And what time do you get up?
Not as early as Brett. So around 6:30.
Okay.
6:30, so 9:30 to 6:30. But I am awesome when I have 9 to 10 hours of sleep. That's my ideal window of sleep.
Wow.
And I'm obsessed with sleeping. So if anyone has sleep questions, how to create your environment.
Oh my goodness, I do. Yes. All right.
Yes.
We need to talk. I just downloaded the Calm app, and I have been falling asleep with the sleep stories every night. And I never make it through the whole thing, but falling asleep, and we won't talk about this right now, but I'll just talk about myself for a second because I'm the host and I can do whatever I want to. So, so falling asleep is never really but it's staying asleep. And of course, the more anxious and the more things that are going on, the more I'll wake up, and, sometimes stay awake for too long, or even if it's just 5 or 10 minutes, it's just that interrupted sleep just really sucks. And also I wake up so early in the morning. Well, early, like, I wake up at 5:30 in the morning on the weekends, and I don't have to, but we'll talk more about that. So another time, Emily. So I'd love to hear more, because I'm sure you're, an expert on that as well. So thank you, Emily. And Brett, how about you? How do you relax, and what's your self-care philosophy for yourself?
For me, anytime I get to spend, quite frankly, like my career post or pre-COVID was being on airplanes and just nonstop every week. And so I find it incredibly relaxing to be with my family. And honestly, during this COVID time, like just anytime I'm with them, it's this recovery. It's filling my cup to a point. Like I've always been with my family, love my family, and that's my number one thing. But the amount of travel I didn't realize how much that was impacting me. But for me, things like Epsom salt baths, don't take them all the time, but that's something that since I was a kid, was something that helped me recover. I believe in it. I really do. It's something. Now, again, I don't do it as much as I probably should. I do, every night's foam rolling, every night, some sort of stretching or some sort of myofascial release type of thing. But honestly, that I've figured out, again, this is figuring out how you individually work. For me to truly relax, I need extremes. I need to do something extreme. My wife is she can't believe I have so many hobbies. Our garage is so full of stuff. I have to get out. I'm more relaxed after an aggressive day of skiing, backcountry skiing, or super hard mountain biking or something like that. Whenever I can do activities outdoors that push me to an unbelievable level, that's me at my best self afterwards. And it is. And so but as I've gotten older, I've realized that I can't just do that. I have to have the other side. So massage was a big thing for me up until COVID. I haven't had a massage since COVID. It just hasn't been on the schedule just because of the way things are working. But it's just a little nightly routine. I take magnesium before I go to bed. I'm a big supplement person. But it's honestly just that time to be with my wife and be with my daughter and not just sit and watch TV together, be together. That is really refilled my energy cup, and it's made me just it's like a whole new perspective for me that I plan on keeping going.
Awesome. That's really nice to hear. Thank you, Brett. Jessica, how about you? How do you relax? What's your self-care?
Yeah, my big self-care routine is movement for me. I find as a group fitness specifically that we're constantly teaching for other people and speaking for other people and constantly giving our energy to others, that when I get to do movement and not have to speak and do something that's really for me, I find that quite invigorating. I live in North Carolina, I live in Asheville, so right in the mountains, live right next to a lake. So most of the days I get to go hike or go walk by myself. I'm like Emily, I'm a big podcast fan. I've recently fallen into the hole of the Enneagram podcasts. I wish I could get out of them. But I've learned so much about the human psyche that I can't seem to dig my way out yet. Back into the murder mysteries I was listening to before. But I do love that, going out and just moving without the intention of taking care of others, but with the intention of taking care of me. My other ways of self-care and relaxing have to deal with getting out of my brain and getting into a fantasy area or a different world that makes me distracted and not thinking constantly about what I need to do. I'm a big fantasy novel reader and big fantasy TV shows and books, or excuse me, and movies as well, so that I can get out of what's happening right now in my reality and put myself in another reality. Take a break of not having to constantly think about problem solving, but watch someone else solve problems that I'll never have to encounter because there are no dragons in this world. So I like being able to remove myself from my current issues and focus on someone else's that are so outrageous. I don't have to worry about, oh, remember that if you ever meet a troll, because that's never going to happen. So I can fully immerse myself in it. And then lastly, I found that doing a hobby of creating things for other people has really helped calm me. So I got into knitting, so that I could knit scarves one Christmas. I've gotten into cross stitching so I can knit or cross stitch my son his Christmas stocking, like doing things for others. So I have a goal in mind that benefits other people and not just me. I found is extremely relaxing, because also I found out my Enneagram type is I'm a type 2. I'm a helper, thanks to those podcasts. So I like helping people out. The Enneagram one that I listen to right now is called the Enneagram Explained. It's super simple. But those are my self-care and ritualistic ways of calming down.
Awesome. Thank you. You know, I tried to bring the Enneagram into the office with a few of my people, and they were not very happy about me trying to do that with them. I'm like, you guys are really bummers here. You're bumming me out, because I love that stuff too. I just love.
Oh, I love Hidden Brain, Julia. That's one of my favorite podcasts.
Okay.
And if
Cool.
you have children, Wow in the World is incredible for a podcast for kids.
Cool. Keep the chats coming, everybody. I love it. Everyone who's tuning in, has some great ideas too, and some information and lots to share. So we love to hear from you guys. So don't be afraid to put anything in the chat. So we appreciate that. Moving on to and as we move along, I don't like it to be completely structured. As we move along to the next question, you guys, Emily, Brett, and Jessica, if there's something you want to add to the last question, don't be afraid to, continue, because a lot of times you go, oh, I forgot to say this, or I thought of that. So, no dings on adding on later. So, what organizational tools do you use? So, that can mean anything you want it to mean, but I'm kind of thinking, do you use a written planner? Do you have a timer, and journal, all that kind of stuff. So Brett, we're going to start with you on that. What organizational tools do you use?
So I get one of those notebooks, and it's not the full size academic notebook, but the smaller ones. I think it's 8-inch. And that is, I always have, every couple of weeks, I create like I was talking about my daily, I create my big plot. So, this business, my initiatives for that business, this business, my initiatives for that business, personal stuff, all that, these headings. And then I create, what am I trying to do for each one of those? What are my initiatives for the next, and I have my quarterly plans and things like that, but what am I going to do underneath one of these? So I put everything in there. And then I try to prioritize number wise, all in all. Like, not just under each category, but what is the number one thing that's going to move my initiative, whether it be revenue, whether it be exposure, whether it be relationships, whatever it is. And so it's just one big, starting at one, this is the most important thing that really probably should be done by the end of this week type of thing, and number all that. And then that goes into my everyday, waking up and going through my to-do list for the day. So then within the day though, I found that I don't have a Apple Watch or any of that. I set my phone to go off every 45 minutes, and I have a standing desk. So I either stand my desk up, I go for a walk around the house, and that just keeps me from going into that blah. It's the irony is, as a fitness professional, I'm sitting, honestly, like, I'm creating content. I'm on meetings, I'm on calls, I'm consulting. That's how I make my living now. I'm not teaching classes and doing things like that. And so I have to remind myself, just like my corporate clients, that I have to get up and move, because I will sit there and stare at a computer all day if I don't think about it, because that's how I make my living essentially at this point. I do some fitness classes and I do some things with the kids, but that's a very small cherry on top of the sundae. That's not how I make my living. I do that because I enjoy it. It gives me inspiration. So That's really, it's kind of old school. It's not that advanced, but it keeps me focused, and it really keeps things moving in a direction.
Cool. Do you really stick to that every 45 minutes? You get up, or
I would say I'm at
Almost
about
always.
80-20.
Yeah.
I'd say 80% of the time, like it's not a perfect,
Yeah,
nothing's a
because
perfect
sometimes you might be in the middle of a call or something, and you,
Well, actually, if I'm in the middle of the call, I'll stand up. Where I screw it up
Yeah.
is when I don't reset the clock. It's like I'm really working on something. I'm in my zone. I'm like, okay, I'll step away. But when I get back to this and I just get back to it, I'm going, and I'm like, oh crap, I didn't.
you forgot.
Hour and a half goes by. I'm like, but I catch myself. It's like, I can tell I'm staring at my screen. It all looks the same. I can't formulate a thought. But I try to, and I'd say about 80% of the time I respond.
Well, you've created a habit, and I don't know how long that took for you to create that habit, but you've created that habit. So even if you forget, you go, oh yeah, that's right. You know,
I'm compelled
Yeah.
by
Right.
symptoms and,
Awesome. Thanks, Brett. Jessica, how about you? Organizational tools.
I'm obsessed with Trello, 100% obsessed with it. My life lives on it. If Trello ever crashed or disappeared, I would just crawl into a coma. It tells me what to do, when to do it all the time, and for all my clients. So if you haven't checked out Trello, Trello, they do not pay me, but they should. And it is an organizational tool that will help you project manage your life with your personal side and your professional and everyone you work with. It's a way that you can send out projects to other people. You can work collaboratively, or you can build something and give it to them in order for them to take it and carry forth. So I live on Trello. I do this very similar to Brett. I sit down and create all the things that I need to get done on a month. So these are the big projects that have to be done this month. And then on Trello, lay it out very graphically so I can see, in order for this to be due on the 15th, I need to finish it on the 10th, which means I need to start it on the 1st, and it needs to be slotted in here. So I can put everything in the Trello calendar with due dates so I can see how it works. That way, if I'm really loaded heavily on one week, I can start to massage things around, or I can start prepping my personal life to know that that's going to be a heavy week, but I'll get a reprieve next week. So I love Trello. The next thing that I use is called Schedule Once, and it's a way that clients and other companies that I work with can see into my calendar and book a time with me. And it saves me from having to go back and forth with people of like, ooh, does Friday work for you? Or does Saturday work for you? And oh my God, where are you, East Coast or West Coast? And I've bombed too many of those to know that technology can take care of it for me. And so they get a peek into my calendar and pick two times. And then I get to be the final one that says, yep, this one does work for me. And it can be super specific on Schedule Once. You can say, all right, I'll book for 30 minutes, but I need 15 minutes on both sides. So you got to find something that works. And you can set it out for as far future as you want. Mine is set up to where you have to contact me 24 hours before you can book your appointment. So I don't get anything that sneaks up on me in the afternoon that I wasn't prepared for. Always make sure I have plenty of time. So Trello, Schedule Once. I also keep a notebook with me at all times. I find that if I have an idea or something comes to my brain, I have to write it down, and I need to write pen to paper. And if I text it to myself or write it down any kind of electronic wise, I'm not going to remember what that means the next day when I go actually to look at it. It might be the same exact words, but there's some magic to pen to paper that will trigger you to remember what you were supposed to be thinking about or talking about. So I usually have a notebook with me for those moments of, oh, I could do it this way, or, oh, I should think about this, or here's a future project. Here's someone I should reach out to. Those moments that cause you to squirrel and get off what you're creating and get out of the content that you're writing. Notebook, write down your squirrel moments, and that allows you to kind of keep going forward without getting lost and off track. The last one that I use is called Momentum, and it is a downloadable plugin that takes over Chrome. So every time you open up Chrome, it'll give you the time, and then I'll ask you, what is your number one priority for the day? So I write down, type it in, what my number one priority is. You can't exit out until you've done it. So that means literally every time you open up the internet, it comes up and tells you, you're supposed to be working on this. Are you working on this? And it's a beautiful background from it's beautiful photography. There's always a very amazing, inspirational quote written across the bottom, but not your typical ones. Like usually it's a little off-centered. Catches you off guard or makes you get a little giggle. But then there's that constant reminder of, this is what you're actually supposed to be doing.
That's
those are-
very interesting. I'm just going to have to check that out. Now someone asked on the chat, and I remember Jessica, you talked to our team. It was probably at least 2 years ago about Trello. So let me first of all, someone asked if it's a paid. I think there's a fee for it, but it's not too expensive. Is that correct?
I would skip the paid version and actually stick with free. Everything
okay.
that comes with a free, you're fine to work with. Until you start running a company of more than 15 people, you can do Trello for free. And it works on your phone and your desktop. So whatever is happening on your desktop, your phone is answering. So I use it a lot for social media. I pre-plan all my social media for a month. And then I can go in and on my phone, download the picture, upload it into Instagram. I'm not having to think, oh my God, what am I going to post today? Because I made it a month ago. Unless it's reactive, like things that you need to get out and post in that day. But yeah, do the free.
Awesome. Thank you for that. Appreciate it. Emily, how about you?
Jessica is so organized
I know. Look at all those tools.
with all these apps. I love it. So mine is going to be like wah wah because I do not use apps like that. I am addicted to my phone from an organization, but I use what might be not old school, but just kind of mainstream, like Google Calendar. Everything is in my calendar, and if we book something, I have to enter it right away. That's the one thing that I did learn and would kind of just recommend of tips of running several businesses or wearing hats is that if you tell me to do something or we schedule something, I literally have to enter it in my phone or it's just not going to happen. I will forget about it in that time. And I've switched everything to cloud-based, meaning Google Drive, Dropbox, just everything that I do has to be sitting on the cloud so that if I needed to access it at any point, I could. And similar to Brad, I travel a lot before COVID, a lot internationally, and I may need to access things from different platforms. So if it's sitting in the cloud, I also have a bad problem ruining computers. And I spill water and drinks and like everything on my Macs. I go through a computer like once a year, but it becomes destroyed that they can't save anything. So I've learned to go cloud-based. That would just be the klutz in me. And yeah, those are my key things. And then outside of the notepads, I'm in my bathroom, which is where now my office, but it's bigger. It's a bigger bathroom. So I have space. I'm on the vanity. But I literally have notebooks everywhere. And then on our office desk, I have notebooks everywhere because it's just so important to how I kind of organize things up here. And then take the notebooks and then reorganize them based off of how Jessica and Brett said that they do it as well. That's what I would say is how I stay organized. Not as organized as Jessica, but maybe with momentum.
Yes.
To tag on to what Emily was saying about the scheduling, that's something that I discovered. I mean, literally, as soon as it comes out of the mouth, as soon as I get off the phone, it has to go into the phone, it has to go into the Google Calendar. But that's beyond business too, because in the idea of wearing multiple hats, that whole idea of work-life balance, part of that is defining what is work, what is life. And I think that's where a lot of people miss it. What is life to you? I mean, according to data, life means 5 to 7 hours a day of consuming media. That's what the average American does. They consume media. That's life to most. So for me, if I want to do something with my family, if there's something that's important to me and it goes into the schedule, I mean, it becomes part of what is planned. And that's not necessarily a sexy way to do it, but that's the way it gets done. That's where work balance happens. I schedule work and I schedule life. And it works. It works for me. So it's the schedule is important.
I'm the same way. Like I have to put things into compartments too. And maybe you guys do the same, Emily and Brett, but like you have 2 hours for this business and you have 2 hours for this business. And it's very plug and play during the day. You know that you're giving 2 hours every day to move this project forward. Yeah. But previous to finding out this kind of compartment idea, I was trying to do days. So like Monday would be this product or this consulting gig, and Tuesday would be this job, and Wednesday would be this one. And I found that if you don't touch it and spin it once a day, that projects tend to fall off or businesses tend to fall off. So if you can compartmentalize and in your Google Calendar, iCal, whatever you use, section out what part of the day that'll keep you also from like answering emails constantly, because you only answer emails from 10 to 12 every day, and then it turns off and it gives you time to do whatever else you're doing for that moment.
Yeah, that's a really good idea. As you said, when people are wearing several hats and, maybe you're running your, virtual fitness, and then you do the one-on-one, and then you mentor, or you're working on a book, or you have your blog, whatever it is, because you could either be reactive to your day, which is what I feel email is. You just or social media also, you just get down a rabbit hole down social media, but it's very clearly allocated that these times I do this, and then at this, I am tackling this project for this education company. That's a really good idea.
Yeah, it's all, this is all such good stuff. And I just want to, and Brett mentioned, and I picked the three panelists all have kids. And so let's just, even though was not one of the designated questions, but Brett brought it up too, like scheduling family time. So just a quick thing, and we'll just continue with you, Emily, like how you have talked about, organization and your routines and everything. So how do you feel you balance your life, and spend enough time with your daughter?
Yes. So our nanny leaves at 5 and she goes to bed at 7:30. So I end on the dot 5 so that I have that time with my daughter. Because I know when you look at research of connection with the parent, that if you can have 1 hour of undivided playtime with them, that helps with the bond and how they mirror and connect to their parents. So it's not just her anchoring to our nanny versus to me or my husband, because she spends a lot more time with our nanny than with me. But she's in gymnastics and dance. She's not doing that much because she's 1, but I actually schedule that in. It's on my calendar, and I do not take phone calls or have meetings during that. And I go to gymnastics with her, and her coaches are like, I love seeing that you're taking time out of your day to do gymnastics with her. And I'm like, it's really important for her and for me to do that. So we just have kind of allocated time. She goes to bed at 7. I usually do another couple hours of work and then take a bath, go to bed.
All right. And I like that you said that you're engaged when you're at gymnastics with her, because, before COVID, I taught swim lessons for decades, and I couldn't stand, I got so excited when a child could do something. Oh, she's floating on her back. Look, mom. And the mom's on the phone and not watching this beautiful moment that was so important. I'm the swim teacher, you're the mom, you're not watching. So, and I'm sure all three of you, can relate to what I'm saying and are very engaged. Jessica, you want to add something about you and your little boy? I see so many pictures of him, and so I know you're on that.
We have a couple of times a week that it's take your kid to work day, or he comes in, he is in my office doing his schoolwork, and we're together during it. But I agree with what Emily was saying. So much of when you're with them, be with them. Like if you have time in the morning, that's what my ritual in the morning is, coffee and him, like getting him ready for school, making sure he's got his breakfast, he's loaded up and ready for virtual school or on the bus pre-COVID years. Like that's my dedicated time for him. And it doesn't get to bleed over. Professional life doesn't get to bleed over into that specific time. The same in the afternoons when there's the dedicated hard stop that turns you from professional to parent, and having to schedule that time in. But I think the biggest learning lesson to me is getting over the guilt of if something goes wrong, not beating yourself up about it. If you happen to, for some reason, work late, miss something, it is not the end, because it used to be to me like end all be all, I was a bad mom. But it took me a long time to finally realize like there is a balance to it. And you are there as much as you can be. And when you are, you're fully on, you're fully engaged, you're fully devoted. Something just screamed over there. Who knows what he's doing? You're fully engaged. You're fully dedicated.
Speaking of the rugrat, right?
Right. And you're full on in parent mode for that time. But keeping definitely that idea that you, as just as they're going to mess up as a kid, you're going to mess up as a parent, and being okay with that.
Right. Good point, Jessica. Brett, you want to add anything about you and your daughter?
Yeah, Emily and Jessica hit it right in the head. I mean, I've really come to the reality of that, the whole time versus energy economy. And just because you're spending time at home or spending time with your child or time with your spouse, it doesn't mean that there's connection happening. It doesn't mean that there's quality. And so traveling all the time really taught me this. I mean, I'd get home from international trip and be leaving 2 days later. The connection I would have with my daughter during those 2 days, just putting everything else out and just focusing on that, whether it be for an hour or 2 hours, maybe as we do daddy-daughter days when I'd get home from an international trip and we'd spend the whole next day together and phone's not out. And I think that's just something that we have turned into multitaskers in life. We multitask relationships, we multitask everything. And the fewer things we can multitask, those are the things that are going to bring us the great amount of joy. So when it comes to it, scheduling it, creating time, my day ends, generally I'm stepping away from the computer about 4:00, pick her up from her day program. And now she's got friends in the street. So she doesn't want to go to the park with me every day anymore, which I'm just for that. But I'm no longer the coolest person on earth, but we used to do that. We'd go to the park every day and we'd go, play soccer and go on bike rides together. Now she's got a little friends. but yeah, and when we're together, when I work, I work, and she knows that when I'm working, I'm working. And then when we're together, I'm all in. So it's more of that quality and not so much stressing out over quantity.
Quality. Yeah, exactly. Good points, everybody. All right. Our last question topic, and whoever wants to start can start. Get real. I hope one of you has had a meltdown recently. Tell us about your most recent meltdown.
How do you define meltdown?
It can be a temper tantrum. It can be screaming. I can be swearing at person, which I just did in the car a little bit ago. But go ahead. Who wants to go?
I don't have those, Janice.
Okay. Curses on you.
Computers to me, technology to me seems to have an adversarial sort of, I guess we have an adversarial sort of relationship, as you'd call it. And when things that should happen don't happen, and there's no clear logic other than it's just busted, or, oh yeah, it's just having a bad day, or Zoom's having a bad day today. It's a binary system. It doesn't get the right to have bad days. That makes no sense to me. So creative swearing and, akin to my daughter and I are pretty much along the same lines in our response to those things, with the feet stomping, the swearing, and the throwing whatever's near. I'm not proud, but yeah.
Have you thrown your laptop or anything like that? Nothing that extreme, right?
Time. One thing I forgot to talk about in self-care is I've integrated meditation into self-care. And before I really had that as a tool, I went through a lot of phones, and there was damage done to various pieces of technology. But anymore, no, I like my computer's got important information in it, so it gets a pass.
Yeah. Okay.
But, the language piece is poetic.
All right. Thank you, Brett. How about you girls?
Well, I think that conflict happens when, expectations don't align. And so if you're having conflict with someone else, it's because you had one set of expectations that didn't match someone else's set of expectations. I work at Fit for Mom. I'm lucky to be the senior director of instructor development. So I get to teach teachers how to teach, which is amazing and fills my cup so much. And we're currently leading a program. I was not feeling the best 2 weeks ago or last week, and had to step in and facilitate a workout by showing a recording of a previous workout that this group had not done, was with a previous group. And of course, the recording doesn't play, Zoom doesn't connect, the internet is flashing red lights at you and you can't figure out why. And it's like the whole world is crumbling in that one moment of you don't feel well, so you already are in a bad mood, and then nothing is working. And there was the big expectation in my world to make it work, figure it out, make it work. These people are have a lot to rely on you. And I had to step back and be like, it's fitness. I'm not doing surgery. Like, I'm not saving someone's life right now in this very moment. Could I influence them to have a better day? Sure. But at the same time, it's not the end of the world that this is not playing right now. And my expectation was it was the end of the world. And to them, it was like, no, it's just a fitness class. Give me the recording. You don't have to be here, leave. So it was stepping back and kind of realizing in that moment, like, technology is not working. It's not that big of a deal though. What we do is fun, and it's supposed to be fun. We're supposed to be having fun. And when you're not, that's when you have to kind of reassess and be like, you're missing the point. You're doing something wrong.
Right. Right. Thank you, Jessica. All right, Emily, tell us about a temper tantrum. It's easier to do when you have a 14-month-old, don't you think?
I know, right? We do it together.
Right.
But no, I would say that many people are usually quite surprised how level I am. Not that I'm flat and they're like, does she not have emotion? Like, I'm not like that. But similar to what Jessica's saying, that she's like, listen, it's fitness, it should be fun, or it's technology. And having gone through residency with like really sick people and like doing amputations and stuff, I compare 99% of the stuff that I would see when I would teach classes. It's like, come on, you guys, like what I'm dealing on the other side, this is perspective. But me traveling around the world doing flights and all that stuff forced me to relinquish control of things, because the more that you fly, you hit delays, they lose your baggage, there's turbulence, there's annoying people on the flight, there's whatever it is that you kind of start to learn that there's just so much that's out of your control, that you have a choice to either start to have a systemic response, or you can be calm about that. So I would say any point of like raising would be when let's talk about my husband having a meltdown, where he gets elevated. And I say that you getting worked up from traffic is not going to make the traffic move faster, or you freaking out about Zoom not working won't make Zoom suddenly start working. I would say in my 20s and early 30s, I would respond like that I would just freak out if I was late for a class, and I would get pissed at everyone if they were in my way because I was going to be late for a class. And then I started being like, it's a class. So I just think it's perspective. And for anyone who's read The Power of Now, the book is that also really changed my perspective on this, that I just stay in the moment and kind of relinquish control in that environment. And I'm so much happier because of it. Like, I don't want to have a heart attack at 40. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I was to the point that I was like, I am going to have a heart attack. I'm very type A. I'm very focused. It does not mean that I'm not like intense to my employees. Like, I just want stuff represented of my company well, but not to the way that I'm going to have like a heart attack at 40. Like, in my 20s, that would have been the profile. Now I'm like, fine.
Yeah, those are really good points there, Emily. And I used to be that way as well. Like, oh, I'm going to be late for class because it's important to me to show up on time and early and all that. But it's like, come on, they love you, so it's going to be okay. It's not, we're not saving somebody's life, like you said, in surgery, Jessica. So awesome, guys. So no real throwing yourselves on the ground, no admitting of that. Okay, fine. That's what I was hoping for, but I got what I got. So that's cool. All right, you guys. Anybody else want to say, in my panel, do you want to say anything else before we, I'll say a few more things in closing, but if you want to say anything to wrap up, or if anybody else wants to say anything in the chat, please do. I will send a recap email, which I haven't been very great at. So Emily, Jessica, and Brett, if you have anything you want to share with them, just pop me an email like by tomorrow if you can, and I'll add it. If you want to solicit yourself, that's a crappy word, but you know what I mean. If there's something that's a workshop that's coming up or something like that, please share, and I will share with everybody. I also share with, like, when people register for this like, let's say, I think maybe we had 60 people register, and always half show up. So I send the recap to everybody, because there's always usually some reason someone was not able to hop on. Maybe they forgot about us, who knows, but they missed something really awesome. So we send a recap out. And so you guys, please let me know what you'd like me to share with them, because we share it to the people who registered, whether they were on or not. I just want, I'll let you guys talk in a second, but I just wanted to say that on Tuesday, I am flying to Cabo San Lucas. My middle daughter, who lives in Huntington Beach, is getting married. She was supposed to get married in April, and so now it's finally happening. I think I'm going to cry. So we're so excited for that. So, we're all looking forward to it. And most of the people on the guest list, certainly some of them were not able to, make it, and they were a little worried about it. So, but we're making it, and she's getting married on November 7th. So I'm going to skip next week's Fit Pro Connection, and then we will connect on November 14th. I'm not 100% what our topic is going to be. We've got a little bit of an idea, so I'll let you guys all know. And then be sure to check out our December 5th Fit Pro Summit. It's our first Fit Pro Summit. And it's really, it's going to be great. If you guys know Tyler Valencia, because of Tyler Valencia, our virtual Fitness Fest was smooth as silk. He's a really great, he really knows how to make an awesome virtual workout. He's a great IT guy. He's a tech guy. He's a great social media guy. So he's been really helping my business a lot. And he is talking about do's and don'ts of being a virtual instructor. We've got a great panel that is talking about the what's going on with fitness in 2020 and beyond, like what is going on in the fitness industry. So we've got Chris Stevenson and Cedric Bryant and Petra Kolber, a couple other surprises coming for the panel, and then developing your marketing strategy for 2021 with Deborah Atkinson. So that's our lineup for December 5th. If you want to sign up, it's only $97 for the whole day. If you use the code uppercase Janice 20, I'm going to put that special out to you now. I'll put that in the chat, and that's my solicitation. And then April 22nd through the 25th, live/virtual Fitness Fest. We will be in person. We're working on that lineup. So that's my shameless promotions. And so Jessica, Emily, and Brett, if you want to share anything else, go ahead.
I just wanted to thank everybody for hopping on a Friday, being here with us, listening to us share our thoughts and tips and tricks. And I hope that if you'll go to the chat and share some of yours with us, that'd be awesome. But thank you for your time. If you're here on the recording, thank you for watching it in playback, and hope to see you guys next time.
You got
Thanks,
it.
Jessica. It's great to see you again. It's
Thanks,
been a while.
Janice. I got to
Thanks,
get the
Maggie.
football.
Oh, okay, Maggie. Thanks for your help.
You bet. Have a good one. Have a great weekend, guys. Happy Halloween.
Thanks,
Oh,
Megan.
yes.
Happy
Thank you.
Halloween.
All
Yeah.
right.
I was just going to say thank you as well. I know it's Friday, so people probably have a hot date or something. So
Maybe they do, maybe they don't, right?
right, yes, but everything that Jessica had said, thank you so much. And thank you, Janice, for inviting me to be on the panel.
Thank you, Emily. It's great to see you again. See you. We live in the same town. We need to get together.
I know, we will.
Yes, we will. Brett,
Thank you, everybody.
great to see you, Brett. We will be
Great to
seeing
see
you
you.
for the Native American Project
Yes,
with
I'm
our
looking
cones, with our CBD cones.
Yes.